Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Beers and Deers podcast. You got Uncle Rambo out here, guillotine behind the camera. You know, between the tack, Facebook, YouTube, we've been seeing a lot of people with target panic, I should say, and not properly using releases that you should. So we're out here and we're going to demonstrate how to get a surprise shot on every kind of release. Thumb button, hinge, and a wristy.
Yeah, the one hinge has a safety and one doesn't. It's not a big difference in execution, but we just thought we'd throw them in.
Because a lot of people get a thumb button and they don't know how to use it. It's the same thing as a wristy. If you're just going to punch it, then there's no point in even getting it. If you are just starting out, I would suggest a hinge to know how to properly get that surprise shot, because that's what we all want in archery.
Yep. Archery without anticipation.
Exactly. There's a book out there. It's actually called it.
Yeah. And that is what's going to give you that perfect shot execution that we all want.
Trust the float, because no one, I don't care if you're John Dudley, Levi Morgan, you can't hold that pin steady. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to move.
It's going to move. Trust the float and don't punch the trigger right when the pin hits the bullseye, because it's just going to make your shots erratic. You might get away with it 20, 30, maybe even 40, but out past that, it's going to get rough.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Johnny, why don't you show us the one that I feel like people have the most trouble with is the wristy.
Yeah.
So why don't you show us how to execute a proper surprise shot with a hinge, or sorry, with a wrist style release.
This is what every beginner is going to start with. So, what I do with the wrist release, when I come to full draw, I kind of, and most wrist releases, I don't know why, they're super long. I suck this one all the way back in, so when I'm at full draw, I can wrap my fingers around the trigger and just pull through the shot. A lot of people, probably 90% of people, will just punch this thing. And that's not how you want to do it. So, in one of them, curl my fingers around the trigger, get to that anchor point, pull through. That's it. Nice follow through and everything.
That was beautiful.
I think I might have lost my arrow in that target.
Yeah, these targets down here are we're getting some pass throughs. This isn't where you want to pass through. You normally want that on a deer, not on a target. But
should I show that again, or should we go right to the thumb?
Let's do one more with the wristy, man. I think that one we could really drive that home.
Yeah, because
that's the one that I see most people have the problem with, is that wrist release. You just want to slap that trigger and you can't. You gotta execute that follow through when you shoot. And like you said, that little tip about getting the release as close to your hand, you want to be able to wrap. Like look at where John's fingers are. See how far over his fingers are over that release? You don't want your fingertip.
Yeah, you don't want this, because there's no way you cannot not punch it.
Yeah, it makes it almost impossible. Yeah. So get that release closer to your palm.
So again, draw, hook my fingers over, anchor up, trust the float, pull them through, and I'm pretty sure that one blew right through and into the woods. Fantastic.
Right into the woods, right through the target. All right, Johnny, let's show them how to use a thumb button.
Now this thumb button is actually broken. The barrel broke off. I shot a deer and dropped it out of the tree stand.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
But it still works. Actually,
kind of like it without the barrel.
Yeah, you can actually get a better hinge type. Because I mean, look how far I can get my thumb around that thing.
Yeah, that's something. So maybe we should do the hinge first.
Probably.
Because that's something that we just went over with a buddy of ours. That here, switch me up, Johnny. We'll do the hinge first. So it's something we went over. Here, I'll take your bow and stuff. More recently with a friend, and
Thing's rickety.
I didn't want to hang it on the metal. So a buddy of ours is playing with the potential for trying out a thumb button, and we both implored him, get a hinge first, because the problem is if you're punching with a wristy and you go to a thumb button, if you don't learn how to use that thing right, you're just going to punch that thumb button.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing. But if you get a hinge, not that you can't punch a hinge, but it's a lot easier to learn how to execute a surprise shot, I feel, with a hinge than it is with a thumb. So I got 2 different hinges here. This one is a honey, and this one has a safety. I really like the safety because it gives you a little more comfort in your draw, and when you shoot without a safety, your finger can get tired because you're almost drawing with one finger all the time. You very, very slightly use this finger, but it's mostly just thumb and your pointer finger. So this has a safety, so it will not fire until I let go with my thumb, and then when I rotate that back, it will release. I'll show you how to execute properly with a hinge, and this is really how you want to shoot a thumb. But with the thumb, the rotation is critical, but obviously the execution is going to be a little different because you have to use that thumb button. But
Now you do no click, right?
I have no click on mine. I just don't like a click, and that's a big preference thing. Some hinges come with a click that'll let you know it's about to fire. I take mine off.
Yeah.
So you get it, and you almost want your pointer and your middle finger to rest like right on your jaw line here. And when you get there, I'll slowly release. I let my thumb off, and at this point, it is hot. So now I just rotate back, and it shoots.
Hot daddy-o.
So that's how you do that with a hinge. And with a safety or without, it's all the same. Maybe for the sake of keeping the video a little shorter, we don't really need to go with that one. But that's exactly how you do it. I'll do that one more time. With a safety, I'll draw this one like it has a safety, like it doesn't have a safety. When you draw, you hook it in, and now with the safety, I get that release forward when I draw. That way, I don't accidentally punch it. And I keep it nice and forward. I'm gonna come back here, find my spot here. I'm gonna blow through this target. I'll let off the safety, sorry, and pull through the shot. And you're just rotating your hand into that shot. And basically, when your hand's here, I use this finger, my pointer, more than I use this one, but I pull back and let off with the thumb at the same time, or you can let off with the thumb completely and then pull back like this. Either way works fine, that's preference. But that is all about holding steady, make sure you're pushing, and then you rotate your hand back. Think about driving your elbow behind you and rotating the hand. You're not pulling through it like you would with a back tension. Back in the day, that might have been the case when you had a lot more spongy back walls and your let off wasn't 85%. You're almost pushing and pulling, but now it's still a push and pull, but it's a lot less. It's almost like it's not necessarily a good cue to say push and pull. You just want to rotate your hand and keep forward pressure on your riser and rotate back, and you execute a good shot with a hinge.
All right.
Johnny?
All right. Now that we got the hinge out of the way, we're gonna do the thumb button.
Oh, there you go. I got you down here. It's on the ground.
All right. And what I do, just like the wristy, I hook my thumb around the button, just like that. Button's broke, but it still works. Hook it around, and when I'm at full draw, I just rotate into my thumb. I mean, that's over exaggerated, obviously, but rotate into the thumb to get that surprise shot. And I'm gonna demonstrate that right now. Thumb button, this is nice. You can't really punch yourself in the face
Yeah.
with a thumb button like you can with a hinge.
Yeah.
Let's try not to blow through this target again. Hook my thumb around.
like that.
Beautiful. That's how you do it.
Nothing to it.
And basically, now John, now there are several ways you can do that with a thumb. Do you pull back with your pinky, or are you just rotating your hand back?
I feel like I'm pulling with my pinky.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can just like make a fist.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's anticipation too.
Yeah, you're getting a little punchy with that.
Yeah.
I agree. So just basically by rotating your hand and leaving your thumb on the trigger,
Solid.
it will hit the thumb button without punching it.
Yep.
You're using rotation to do so. That's all there is to it.
So everybody out there, stop punching your goddamn triggers, please. That's gonna do it for us. Peace.